Wassail! So I hope you've all been enjoying the tarot workshop. There are more to come, but I feel a need to just do a reading. Partly because in laying the cards out and resetting them, it's about me learning something, but I felt like I wasn't allowed to read. Also, look, I'm still on my spirit walk with my mum. And yesterday, I don't want to say it took a turn for the worse, but it took a heavier turn yesterday, and I had to come to terms with that notion of it's okay to not be okay. And yesterday, after the wind turned up, as soon as I'd finished the water reading, it just rained heavily all day yesterday, and all inside here, water was coming through the studio. I had to unplug the heater because it was covered in water that was coming through the ceiling. So it was this real sense of a really endless cleanse. And it's been raining a bit this morning, but the sun's coming out. I want to have a little look at Mercury, because Mercury's gone direct today. I got my computer back with a new battery in it. I opened it, all my stuff was still on there. I closed it, I brought it home yesterday, I opened it, it won't work again. It's that Mercury. So I've drawn an ankh, the symbol of life, on the top of the computer, and I'm going to assume that now Mercury's gone direct, it's just going to wake up. There's no reason for it not to. And we'll see how I get on. So let's do the bells. I'd really like there to be some wonderful magic come through, because all the planets are now moving in the correct direction. And that means speed. This is the stellium speeding up now. That need to scream sacred rage, that's all calming down now. But this morning I've been connecting with Pluto. Now I'm going to ask about Pluto because I don't know whether I'm connecting to Pluto because it's a planet of death and rebirth, or whether there's something going on that I've been picking up on it all morning in different ways. So anyway, let's ring the bells and let's call in some magic. I want to say calling time, I don't know on what. I want to say Thor, because there's a hammer chiseling away at something out there, like it's struggling to break through something. Now I'm getting ringing in my right ear. Yesterday I got massive ringing in my left ear that went on for a moment that was quite beautiful, and it was definitely Mercury. It was a G sharp, although I didn't realise that yesterday, but now I am suddenly. Anyway. Calling time, I don't know what on. So I haven't selected any of the cards that are in the workshop because I don't want to mess with the energies of those. So we've got oracle decks and we've got some tarot that I haven't been using in the... So let's start with Odin. It's calling at me. We want to ask firstly about Mercury. So, just gonna spend time focusing energy into the cards. Oh, there's Odin with the magic. So hopefully Odin is going to talk to us about the magic. One more split. The destiny of harvest. Okay, so Mercury. Mercury, 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 Mercury. You are now stationary direct. What are you up to? Right, so we have three cards, two facing up and one facing down. I'm not going to turn over the other one yet. I'm just going to show you the two that are facing up. Thurs and hugging and munning. This is that sense of a portal opening on the bigger picture, because hugging and mugging go out every day and they fly around and they come back to Odin and they tell Odin everything that's going on. I do a thing, because I used to disconnect entirely from the news, and about 6 months ago this card kept coming out and it just kept saying to me, you've got to keep an eye on the world around you, not to climb into it and feel all depressed and miserable, but to be aware of it so that when you see a negative story that's pushed out there, a communication, you transmute the energy of that story by saying, but this could be the other end of the paradox. You may be putting out the energy in this way, but I have the power to transmute how I perceive that story in my reality. And that's an energy that we all need to start to practice a little more. So I don't want to say go and watch the news, surf the internet, which is very Aquarian energy. And currently the big sort of energetic tussle going on is the internet. It's in cyberspace because it's the borderless community. It's Vanahamir as such. It's very heavy with earth energy of accumulation and money making, and so that's needing to be cleared up. But we need to be aware of what's going out there and transmute the energies to suit a better version of how we would like life to be, because the more that each of us perceives the world as a fearless, happy place, then the more that energy builds. And then the card facing down, oh, it's birth. See, look, it's Bjarken. Not Björken, Bjarken, beech tree. The beech is the first tree that grows in a forest after a fire. And this is baby Yggdrasil. It's saying this is a new earth energy, because the heightened earth energy has begun to settle down now. So the clarity of air is coming in to be like a plough, a blade, to carve through the soil, to put air back into the soil where it was dense and heavy. So we're in Chinese year of the metal ox. Metal ox is ploughing its communities. It's interesting actually that Mount Etna erupted the other day, and it spilled a lava flow down into the Valley of the Ox, which I thought was very prescient. So also there's been a canyon of fire that's just exploded off the surface of the sun, and they're not sure whether it's going to hit us or not. It's and also that's what they want. That's why they're making me think of Björk again. Over Iceland yesterday, there were green and pink heart chakra aurora borealis lights, and that's the pink. Green is the normal colour of oxygen, and this is when nitrogen gets affected by the magnetic waves. And so the skies are all these swirls of pink and green. Absolutely beautiful. That real sense of our hearts coming together. So let's go to... let's go to the Reversi Tarot. Thors and hugging and mugging, munning. Thors and hugging and munning. Thors is Thursday. He's a huge giant. It's very difficult to track down information on Thors, but he's one of the giants, and he holds open this giant spiritual portal. But it is this real sense of it being a portal to the bigger picture, like a new energy is now opening. So what would you like to add, please, to Mercury's Thors and hugging and munning? Oops. So we have, oh, there's two cards under that. Let's put them there. It begins with the Page of Wands and the Two of Swords. So this is the energy of Phoenix. This is the energy of rebirthing, which would be stepping through a portal. It's very fiery, and it's very much an incoming energy from the cosmos. And the reverse of the card, turning the energy around, is to be reborn in the world somehow. But that's not the point of where we're getting. That's the destination. We're on the journey. So this is about, it's almost like taking, what I'm hearing in my head is barren thoughts, emotions, but really ideas. Barren ideas need to be burnt away. Things that no longer serve the bigger picture. This is not talking about an energy that's personal. This is very much an energy of the world in which we live. There's a rebirth taking place. It's fiery and new. It has a new language. Oh, my elbow just cracked. And here we have that sense of the energy coming from this card today is about seating yourself in and genuinely feeling the emotions around you. And I don't mean within your home or your family or your relationships, but this is connecting to the bigger picture again. This is a really key energy, connecting to the bigger picture, because there's a big portal opening. And it's about coming into a sort of balanced energy, but it's about, sorry, I'm just being drawn into things. It's not just the lightning, I'm being drawn to how diaphanous, sort of semi-see-through, her skirt is. So you can kind of see her, it's somehow coming across as a completely non-sexualized energy. It's coming across as very profoundly air energy, thought energy, rewiring of thoughts. And she's blindfolded, not because you can't see the truth, partly because we don't wish to see truths, because that will upset our energies in terms of beliefs, because beliefs will change. But she's also unwilling, the energy of this card is unwilling to face the emotional changes that come with the change of thought. Because she's not willing to put her foot into the water. And the reverse of this card is the focus on the cosmos. But this time it's about this focus on the larger picture of the cosmos. This rebirth is in itself an individual personal journey that we all have to go through. We all have to sort our own thoughts and feelings out. So we have the 7 of Pentacles. This is about reviewing the fruits of your labour, reviewing how you have made your life, I want to say decorous. Sounds like there's going to be some more rain suddenly. The sky's gone all watery and emotional again. So he's decorated his tree. But the message that's coming from this card is we've all decorated our own lives to make our lives feel more beautiful, but at the expense of a totally barren landscape. And the reverse of the card is just coming across as futility. Because this is the card of harvest, and he's harvested everything, and it just hasn't made him happy. It hasn't brought the joy to him. It's kind of reviewing, it's almost like this card sits one side, and then the Ace of Cups sits the other side. And the Ace of Cups is that cup of love, of divine energy, of being refilled. It's interesting. There's a figure on a horse, you know, like a kind of knight in shining armour who's arrived at this. He's just here. He's arrived at this fountain, this source of all life. And there is that sense of we mustn't wait to be rescued, we must rescue ourselves. The cosmos is there, but the cosmos is asking us to interact with ourselves, because the reverse of this card is everything flowing with spirit, but we're in that space at the moment where we haven't appraised all that we've done that seems so futile in the age of Earth epoch. So, the final card in this little series is the Queen of Cups. And she's face on. And her skirt is connected to the water. She is the water. She sits carrying the higher heart chakra energy on her throne that is the green of the world's heart chakra. This is when the energy of this dark, ready to flow fountain has been turned round. When we've reviewed our thoughts and emotions and corrected them, we get to this new energetic flow. And it's interesting, this card didn't come out in the reverse, but it came out showing this is the direction that Mercury is trying to lead you in. So Bjarken. What's Bjarken, this beech tree, and Mercury, this rebirth, what's that bringing? Bjarken. Oh, that's interesting. We have the Empress now, because when this card first came out, I saw this as Empress energy, unblocking. Now she's arrived. The birthing has arrived. It's very strange. The energy that I'm getting from her is... it's not fully engaged because it's birthing. It's almost like it hasn't got going yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And there's 13 stars above her. I've been really drawn to that timeless stepping out of the rules and the regulations, 12 frequency, you've got a job to do, you have to do it in these hours. It's that sense of us all birthing greater flow and freedom, but it hasn't fully birthed yet. It's the seed is germinated, it's growing. And here we have the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords has currently got her back to us. I kind of want to say it's like the Queen of Swords is the queen in air energy. It's air frequency. And so there's something about how we are, or we have to call in that energy mantle of the Queen of Swords. We have to actively engage in her energy by working on clearing up our thoughts and emotions. Look, air energy is the editing suite. Swords are the editing suite. It's the next one of my tarot workshops. And I've been told to reverse them because the idea is that we need to, because air energy is now the largest, most powerful energy in the cosmos around Earth's frequencies right now. We have to engage with that, and we have to see the 10 of Swords energy of feeling knived in the back and unable to stand up, and we have to pull out each sword and we have to look at each sword and work out what emotion that sword can be plunged into and slice open, and then we can open it and see what's inside the darkest emotions within us that we couldn't visit. We've visited them lots of times and we say, I thought I dealt with that, and then it turns out we haven't dealt with that. And it's because they were so densely stuck in earth energy, these emotions, that the knife just couldn't get in. Now that the energy of air is amplified, it's coming in and it's slicing open all kinds of areas where there was fog. So if you think emotions are water, so during an age when earth is at its biggest, it fills the emotions with silt and we can't see through the emotions properly. We've hit air now, and air is coming in and it's cutting through and it's able to break in, and the earth energy that was heightened is now all dropping like a snow globe. So there's a clarity coming to our emotions, but we have to engage in reprogramming our thought processes. Okay, so now let's go to Pluto. Because, oh, look, there it is. Thor. That hammer that's been hammering all the way through. It's like the hammer is air, but it's not that kind of earthly smashing hammer. It's air smashing hammer. And it's every time it hits, it just breaks through. It's not like it hits a surface and has to work really hard to break the energies. It just cuts through anything that it hits. So, Pluto. There, we've got 4. We've got Odin and Thor's hammer. So, Sol and the Billoldo, or the Bifrost. There's an energy of the sun coming down to the earth. I don't know whether that's that weird canyon of fire effect that's due in the next few days that they're keeping an eye on. But immediately I saw this, it's like I was being drawn to solar activity again, firing down on Earth, and how it's all part of the bigger picture. It's interesting in that today Pluto has got some aspect like sextile, I can't remember which, with Mars, and it's a very harmonious aspect, but there was something about the energy when I was sitting in it today that felt ever so slightly not destructive, but like a fireball, but like a precision, like something that's got an absolute direction to kind of pop down and just go and then leave all this steaming air behind. So let's maybe take a different deck for Pluto. Let's take the Titchy Toth. Yes, solar flares. It's the rainbow bridge. It's got that energy of restoration, of bringing energies back that have long been lost. And it's not just about fire, it's about bringing everything back into a balance, because when the earth was heightened, if you throw earth over a fire, it puts the fire out, so inspirations have been off. If you put all the silt of earth in the water, you can't see through the clear water. But if you throw earth into the air was always able to kind of whoosh through, but it couldn't dig into the full earth energy and kind of dig out the truths that were hidden in this. So there is this unlocking of secrets. Secrets can't exist in the energy we're going into. We have to go into clarity. We have to go into a frequency that we understand, that people can make their own minds up because they're given all the truths. And it's interesting that the internet, which is, as I say, this very important frequency at the moment, very Aquarian energy, is so full of fibs. It's so difficult to find a truth. The very nature of the algorithm is stopping the truth from being sought out properly. So, the Sol and the Billrost, what's this got to do with, please? Sol and the Billrost. The first one went on the floor and the second two have sat down on top of each other. Now this is quite funny, because I deliberately didn't bring the Moonology cards because I didn't feel a connection to the moon, except that at the moment, because of the stellium, when you look at an aspects chart, everything's all lined up in one place and it's very dense and it's like a spring waiting to pop. And because most planets move slowly, the only thing that controls the changing movements on this chart is the moon as it moves round every 28 days. So there's some really interesting moon pattern energies that are coming in. We're also getting that frequency, obviously, here of the sun and the moon. I'm also getting magic, because I'm getting a kind of... at the base of this card, there's a kind of scarab beetle, but it looks really uncomfortable, like it just can't survive in the earth. And it's almost like it's about to break through the crust and the magic is coming back. Because this is magical energy coming down from heaven. So maybe all these wonderful auroras that we've been witnessing, well, personally I haven't, but you know, in parts of the northern hemisphere they've been seeing some amazing auras with all kinds of new ice particle coronas shining around the sun and things. There's a sense of it correcting or readdressing or changing the frequency of the atmosphere almost, the energies. It's this new stellium tune that's beginning to ground its way in. Oh my goodness, look at what these two cards are. I mean, I wouldn't fear anything that's coming. We've got the Two of Cups, love, and we've got wealth, the Tree of Life. There's a new energetic flow coming to the Tree of Life. This little Bjarken. So we have here at the base we have Virgo, and we've got lots of other symbols all over this Tree of Life coinage, but it's talking about how there's two things. It's talking about the esoteric nature of what was earth energy, because we have to read this card at the moment. I'm being told to read it as two things. The old energy of earth, where we just loved to accumulate wealth and greed, and then the area above where this new esoteric frequency of balance that's coming in as the moon weaves a new tune around the earth and involves pulling and pushing and making good and bad aspects with the sun. It's about rewiring our perception of love within the material world. It's talking about a change coming in. There's a strong sense of filtering going on in this card. And this card is about Venus in Cancer. And Venus in Cancer is about love within the home, within the community. It's that energy of the bigger picture, the masses. But it's still about how we have to individually create these things, because this is about an inner acceptance of love as well, and bringing that love into the energy of a new reality, I guess. So, Odin and Thor. Odin is the tree of life in many ways. You know, he hung upside down from the tree of life, lost an eye to gain wisdom. And Thor is his son. Ignore the fact that it's a hammer for the moment, but think of it as generational. You know, it was this generation's time. It's now this generation's time. But the point of this younger generation is they have the power. They have the power to bring the changes. So there's something dissolving about him. Ever since I got the Odin deck, and I love this deck, it's always had a sense... You see, it's almost like that inability to communicate. It's always had an energy frequency where Odin's time is over. And I love Odin. I have an energy mantle that I use when I'm healing, which is Odin of the White Raven. So I do have a huge admiration for Odin, but there is something, it's all a bit dense and heavy on Odin, and it's almost like, I want to say, you did all this stuff and did you not see this coming? He did. He did see it coming because he understood the cycles. So it's kind of like an appreciation that things have a time. You can't go back and think we need to build this type of thing again. We need to go back to the golden age, because if you look into the history of all countries, all golden ages are achieved at the suffering of someone else. There's always people who suffer for others to live in a beautiful way. It's reminding me now of the readings that we did. We did. The readings that we did when we were at Karnak, and about the Neolithic period and how people lived really in the face of extreme nature, and yet they got on with things. And then the next thing that came along in that area that I was staying in was the kind of Roman period. And the Roman period brought all this splendor and underfloor heating, and suddenly to be beautiful was important, because I watched a video footage of how they made their wonderful bead necklaces, and it was really damaging physical work on the hands and the legs as they tried to sculpt these beads from the rocks to decorate themselves with and to create talismans that they were later buried with. And in the Roman period, suddenly unspoiled beauty was achievable, where you just did nothing but you were just beautiful and rich. And there is that sense that that was only achieved because Rome enslaved people. It forced others to live miserable existences so that the elite people of that time could live in a wonderful and comfortable way. I mean, it's that thing when people say things like, oh, I'd have loved to have lived in the 1920s, or I'd have loved to have lived, but only as a rich person. Everyone always wants to go back in time and live as a rich person. And it doesn't serve any purpose. We have to create a direction forwards. Anyway, so generations. Thor and Odin. So, this is the card of Dominion, to be in control. And it is Mars in Aries. It's very fiery, but this is talking about this Age of Odin. I've recently been listening to some Norse stories, and it's very interesting that for the first time I got that sense of, in the early stories, that same link of the sort of earlier man. When you live in harsh environments, you haven't got time to be anything other than strong and powerful, engaged in the world. And so the men were always just a whisper from death. They would do anything to die, because to die was considered an amazing gift, and you had the promise of Valhalla. But this is about that energy of this was once the beginning of something, and it's followed by the Eight of Cups, to walk away from it all. There's a kind of toxicity here, and 1, 2, 3, 4 of the cups are filled with the flowing waters from the flowers. And here we have Saturn in Pisces, restriction of emotions, being toxic, that thing again of the emotions being so blocked by the heightened frequency of Earth that we couldn't quite break through them. And so that transformation of that energy of Odin being over takes us to the new frequency, and we've got the sun again. So the sun began this section on Pluto. And this is about bringing joy to the entire constellations. Every zodiac sign is around this, and it's about this new joyful energy of, it is collective. The energy of this card is very much collective energy. So we're going to go to the shamanics and just get a bit more information on what this means as we move forwards. Just give them a really good rifle, because I feel like I wasn't even allowed to look at oracle decks for the last week. Because when I started on that tarot journey on my death walk, they weren't allowed in. It's very strange. Let's give them a third rifle. I was trying not to look at the splits. Karma of the child. The damaged inner child, as I always call it. So, can we please have some further information? Some further information, please, on the current situation. That was a bit weird. So we've got 3 cards that came out together, and they kind of weighted their way down. Oh my goodness. So we have the medicine wheel. We are in medicine territory. This stellium is medicine. It's cosmic medicine. It's medicine that's bringing a shedding of skins. This has got all of the suits in it. It's changing the heart. It's changing our exteriors. It's working with karma, and it's creating a new spiritual thought process that's linked in with the new body that's emerging. And this is an 8, it's a change card. It's really, they're making me pick up this with it. The medicine is to accept change. We find change very difficult. Change scares many people. I'm quite lucky, I've got a lot of Uranian energy, and I embrace change always because I get bored. So the medicine is here. And then we have the card of completion. So that card was 35, which is an 8. The completion is 9, divine completion. There is a completion coming in on earth energy, because the next card is earth, and that's a 9. So we're at 9, that's an 18, but that is a 9. So the completion is this transformation of the earth into a much less harsh environment, a much softer place, a greater connection to animism, to the spirit world, to fairies, to pixies. All of those energies are becoming less. The veil that was so dense around them is able to be sliced open now, so you will get more flashes of things. We will see more spiritual messaging. It's just the way in which the frequencies are going. And what's the final card on this subject, which came out all on its own, is the child. She looks so different today. She looks bemused. She looks a little startled. It's very interesting because there is a kind of gender fluidity to this card. There's moon phases going on. They want me to mention the fact that the full moon that's coming up on a week yesterday, it will be a week, so it's in 6 days. It begins with a void, I believe, as does the following new moon in Pisces. Also, the new moon in Pisces, I will do a reading on. There's a very open, clean, empty energy that comes with the second new moon, this moon in Pisces. Oh yeah, you see, it is talking about this moon is the moon in Pisces. Because Pisces, moon is often thought of as Cancer, very often, but this is moon in Pisces. So there's something quite relevant about this, the solar energy change is something that's coming with the new moon in Pisces. So back to this child, bemused, startled. The energy that's coming from this card is there's a sort of a softened rage around shame. So it's almost like the child has stood up and said to the bullying adults, how dare you shame me? That's the energy that this card is giving me. How dare you point a finger at me and tell me what's right or wrong for me? How dare you shame me into obedience because it damaged me? That's what's coming from that card. So let's go to Tichitoth and just go a little bit more on the medicine, the completion of the change of the earth. You see, look, the earth is coming good. It's the Queen of Discs, and she has Capricorn energy, which is where Pluto is right now. She has control over it. It's like the energy of Pluto during Earth was so heightened that it created additional layers of fear that we can now look at. It's interesting, on the walk I've been on has been about walking hand in hand with death around the sacredness of the loss of my mother. And it's been a really beautiful experience, but it can't just be beautiful. It's got to have that trough down into the depths of the darkness to face those Plutonian energies. And that's been going on, the Plutonian energies, they've been going on since October on my birthday when I went to Karnak. So this is really, it feels like I'm on a reviewing, and we're all on a bit of a reviewing, of energies that have been cropping up cosmically, because I am always trying to seek the bigger energetic patterns that are filtering down into the earth, coming back out of the earth and affecting us. So she's very much, she's created a new earth for herself. And there's something about the barren 3D black and white image at the back that she's turning away from, because she's creating something far more sacred for her luminous warrior child as it grows up. And now we have Sun in Scorpio. So Sun in Scorpio is again Plutonian, in that Scorpio is death and rebirth. But this is a Six of Cups. This is about rewiring all of our emotions to bring us back into a balance, to reconnect our soul to a frequency it's much more comfortable existing in. So now the child. So what would you like to add, Titchitoth, to the child? I can't do 12. One's popped out over on the hammer of Thor, or on Thor, which we're saying represents younger generations, and it is the child, after all, that we're dealing with. It's the Ace of Cups. It's pure energetic love. We've already had this Ace of Cups. This is about emotions being refilled, but in a grown-up, clarified frequency without fear. Would you like to tell us something else, please, about the energy of the child? No, that didn't feel right. I want them to fall. Energy of the child, please. Energy of the child, please. There we go. Mary the Jewess. Hooray! I say this every time, but you really need to look up Mary the Jewess. Everybody needs to know about Mary the Jewess. She was the first alchemist. She wasn't the first female alchemist. She was the first alchemist. She created the bain-marie. This is the woman who, if you like a bit of Harry Potter and you like the Philosopher's Stone, she invented it. She knew how to make it. She's a really amazing person. It's temperance, but it's about alchemical transformation, energetic transformations taking place as we swing from the old order to the younger order. Bye-bye, Mr. Odin. Welcome to the world of Thor. So we have those, we have the temperance. In this card, the energies are the wrong way around. They're coloured the wrong way around. They need to be transformed. And that's exactly what this energy is talking about. This is no longer the correct energy. The old order has to make way for the new order. These are new times, these are new energies. New things must come in, and we mustn't fear it. So what do we have as the other two cards? Very interesting. We've got Moon in Aquarius, and then we have Mars in Pisces. So we have the Seven of Swords and the Ten of Cups. Look, we've got so much loving energy here. We've got the Ace of Cups early on. We've got the Queen of Cups early on. We've got now here, we've got the Six of Cups. We've got the Two of Cups. We've got the Ace of Cups. We've got the Ten of Cups. There's new on, we've got the Eight as well in the transformation. This energy of switching emotions is really strong. This is a card ordinarily that's the thief in the night. It isn't anymore. It's about working out what you need. This is, in this particular off deck, it has many symbols. We have Jupiter, we have Mercury, we have Mars, we have Venus, we have the Moon, we have the Sun. So there's lots of energies, and we have the House of Aquarius. We are in the energy of Aquarius, and this is it's like the energy of everything lining up. a new opening, something brand new fanning out like a peacock's wing. Peacocks, and now I'm thinking, are very much Mercurian energy for me. It's the throat, it's communication. But it's a warning not to have pride in, don't be proud when you try and communicate new ideas. That's a wrong frequency. I'm being told to say, not humbleness, but awareness of others. You can't enforce your notion of what's correct. It has to be an energy that it's correct for your truth, but you don't force your truth on another. You allow people to bask in the aspects of your truth that suit their truth. It's a much nicer way of moving through. And then this card is about the wiring in of all of our new emotions into the Tree of Life. These are both Tree of Life frequencies. They are Kabbalah Tree of Life. So there's a real beautiful emotional flow. And there's action. I want to say there's real... there's a real opening. I mean, I'm also getting this opening energy here and here. That sense of something new unfolding. I want to say, if you didn't watch it, there was a moonflower that was the first flower to open, moonflower to open in the UK. There was a live feed for it. It's absolutely beautiful. It doesn't open very often. It has a beautiful sweet smell, but that's that energy. It's about a new energy opening, and it is completely new. It's not this dead tree. It's a new energetic Yggdrasil. We're getting lots of signs of new energetic Yggdrasil tree. So I'm just going to end by just asking, I'm going to take the Thor card, and I'm just going to ask with the child, because it feels like this is saying that there's something, look, we're all young at heart. We've all got the capability to be part of the Thor generation, but it's about how we weave our thoughts and emotions into our journey forwards through the earth. So let's ask, I don't know which deck, if I'm honest. I've got the Odin in my hand. Tell me something about the new generation. I'm going to put them far away so that I don't get tempted to pick them up again. Right, that's really interesting. So, in the Villoldo, which was the energy floating down from Asgard to Midgard, we begin with Heimdall. Heimdall is the trumpeter, the guardian of the Villoldo bridge. He can hear corn and wheat and grasses growing. His hearing is so incredible that he hears everything. He's blowing a fanfare to announce a new direction. And this new direction comes from the cosmos. Whatever you want to call heaven, it's the greater cosmic realms. And so this new generation is the melody of the future. And they come with the Valkyrie. Protection, divinely protected, spiritually protected. This is the pathway. This is new. This is not calcified old energy that's only known and understood what it's like to live in a heightened earth. This is new, protected energy. So let's get the titchy toth on them. What would you like to just add before we leave today, please, about this new fanfare, this new music of the spheres that's about a new generational thought coming in. Right, now they fell in a different order. I just want to get them in the order that they fell in. Wow. They're kind of talking about the, let's pick up Odin again. This is what the age of Odin was. Oppression and heartache. Oppression and heartache. But the interesting thing is that we're learning at the moment to focus on that heartache and transform it. We're turning all of our air swords energy. There's two swords coming down here. They're focusing in to bring us into a new alignment, to push all the old behind us. And then where do we move forwards to? I want to say it's cards 1 and 2 of the major arcana. Now, ordinarily, I would always say that this card is raw masculinity, but the cards, it's recently been coming across as divine masculinity that's manifesting, and it's doing it with the balance of the divine feminine. So we are moving into a truly balanced, manifesting, actualizing energy frequency that's being brought to us on the whole by the young. You know, they're coming across more and more. Look, the thing to remember is the young are always the future. And it's been fine suppressing them and abusing them and bullying them forever, but the worm is turning now and they are protected. They are the cosmic truth that's coming forwards. I mean, look, seriously, that energy of being the fanfare of heaven and having Valkyrie around them, don't mess with them. Don't mess with them. It's their time now, and it's time for Odin. Who knows it? Odin knows it, but those still caught in the energy of Odin haven't fully appreciated it yet. So, that's the reading for today. I'm terrible. I'm just going to do one more shamanic. Just to try and throw the message off and counteract all the wonderful energy that was there. Look, that's interesting. Crow, 13. The Empress had those 13 stars that I've never noticed before. 13 frequency. Maybe 13 frequency is the frequency of the young. So, where's this all heading ultimately? Oh, that's too many. Oh, look, there's one all on its own there. The ghost dance. It's the removal of the fog. It's time for all of the dancing around that we've done in earth energy where we couldn't see our way through properly. It's going now. It's time for that to leave. So where's that going to lead us? I can't leave it on that one. Where's it going when the ghost dance vanishes? To the holy mountain. To being lighter, to being connected, to understanding, to being at one with things, to actually moving forwards as a collective into, I can hear a sigh of relief. So we're moving into the energy of a sigh of relief, is what I want to say. Okay, anyway, that's a little reading. I'm going to now rest, go back into my spirit walk, and maybe tomorrow I will settle down and do workshop number 4 on swords and air energy. It's exciting. Anyway, Wassail Beautiful People, have a lovely Sunday.